So if you're listening to us for the first time, we really appreciate it. Please subscribe and share this. We've had this man on quite a few times, and he always brings a lot of people to the podcast. I recommend his book. I have it on audio tape. You can also buy it on, if you want to read it in person. It's Pimp Game. Mickey Royal back on. Mickey Royal's dabbled into all kinds of different lifestyles and atmospheres. And he's going to talk about a lot of that throughout this podcast, but also talk about a lot of dating, men, women, feminism, all kinds of stuff we're going to dabble into. Mickey, it's a pleasure having you on, and I'm excited about this.
Oh, pleasure to be back.
As far as the dating game, it is pretty much a mess right now. When do you feel like this started? Was it the sugar baby stuff that started this? Was it something with Instagram, Facebook? How did the dating game become so toxic and such a mess?
Well, I think the trust fell apart and it became mostly games of leverage. It became a chess game. The love disappeared, but it didn't happen overnight. It's like when you take a golf ball and you go to Mount Everest and you roll it. By the time it gets to the bottom, it's a huge boulder. Well, that boulder is sitting outside our door right now, but it didn't start off as a boulder. It started picking up through this, and then the 70s a little bit more, then the 80s a little bit more, and it's a lot of variables and factors that went into it, and now it's just a total mess. It's a total mess. It's no trust anymore, and trust is the foundation of any relationship. Without trust, we won't develop respect. Without respect, we won't develop love. So we're not even talking about love anymore. We're just talking about who did what to whom first and who's right or wrong. It's almost like two different opposing basketball teams or football teams where men do this and women do that. And it's just awful now. And it's really a shame because people are missing out on a lot of happiness. They really are,
Can you talk about this boss babe feminism? Because it's starting to get out of control, especially in this country right now.
Well, it started with feminism, and that was a good idea. And a lot of things that start off right end up wrong. It started with simply wanting equal pay for equal work. You can't disagree with that. If a woman is a mail carrier or a trash person that picks up trash, she should make the exact same thing as a man who picks up trash, because it's not about a trash man or a trash woman, it's about a trash collector. And the job should pay one thing. No one disagrees with that. If you disagree with that, then you're kind of unfair. But that's how it started. Equal work for equal pay. Who can argue with that? If I do the same job, I should be paid the same thing. That's how it started. And then, instead of looking at the system as an enemy, you looked at the system designers who are no longer here as the enemy, and you saw their sex as your enemy as opposed to their ideology. Because as many men as it was promoting the misogynistic views, there were men fighting for feminists too. And it wasn't about feminists, it was about fairness and doing what's right, no matter who it's for. But as it started to spiral, you get into the different wages, women feeling like they're more, when you get into the breadwinner should control things, and then she becomes the breadwinner, it kind of throws off the balance of things, because it's not about who makes the money. A woman's natural nature is estrogen. Ours is testosterone. So when a man is attracted to feminine women, and a lot of times women equate power with masculinity because that's the only vision of power they've seen. Queen Elizabeth was quite feminine, and she had a lot of power. She didn't have to show up in jeans and t-shirt and punch anybody out. Oh, she was quite the lady, but she was in absolute power. So femininity is powerful, but in their minds, they saw masculinity as power. So what did they do? When they entered the workforce, they put on pantsuits. They imitated men. Well, men are not attracted to men. Testosterone is not attracted to testosterone. It's attracted to testosterone as a group learning type of thing. That's why you have a lot of group male affiliations. You got Masons, Shriners, you got football players, basketball players, you got motorcycle gangs, you got street gangs, you got our gang, Spanky and Alfalfa, and men are fraternal, women are maternal. You give a little girl this cigarette lighter as a baby, she's gonna cuddle it. You give a man it, we're gonna pretend it's a grenade and hit somebody else inside the head with it. That's not bad or good. That's testosterone and estrogen. And it just got so out of whack. Sometimes you can start an argument, let's say it on a microcosmic type of way of looking at it. You can start an argument with one of your best friends over who ate the last pot pie. You know, by the time the argument ends, you guys are talking about each other's mothers, about to fight. It's not even over the pot pie anymore. That's already spoiled. You don't even remember what the fight is over about anymore. Now it's me getting the last word, me getting the harder punch. What did this start over? You don't even remember. Now imagine, that's in the course of an hour. Imagine 30, 40 years of that. So it's gone so far off the beaten path of what it started. It started out right. We're doing work. We weren't in the, women weren't in the workforce. So they don't have to get equal pay. They're not working anyway. But when inflation goes up, the man, his rent is going up and bills are going up, but his pay scale is trickling up, then by the numbers, his way of life is going down. She had to enter the workforce. This is before she became a single parent. She started working. And sometimes the work led to single parenthood because her occupation was her job. His occupation is his identity. So we don't say, women fight fires, men are firemen. That's not her identity. She's a woman who fights fires. We're actually a fireman. Our testosterone-based work is actually our physical identity. That's why when basketball players retire, they don't know what to do with their lives anymore. Who am I if I'm not Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, the skyhook? Now I got to go home to a lazy boy chair. Women don't suffer that kind of thing. Women suffer in a different way because they're maternal. They have empty nest syndrome. When their kids grow up and gone, they get depressed. When our kids grow up and gone, we get naked and have a party. See, we're not maternal, we're fraternal. So it warps the dynamic and you're dealing with something natural. So it's to the point now where they don't know who they are, why they're here, or what they're supposed to do. They just know they're lonely and unhappy. And they're looking for answers everywhere.
Mickey, let's talk about this because there's a lot of men now, and I believe it's because of this boss babe thing. And I want you to get into this because a lot of men are simps now. They're very weak. They let the woman control. They've kind of just given up on life. They're letting, now there's a lot of the cuckolding stuff. I believe it's just this simpy men just getting involved in that. But to each his own. If you like that stuff, that's how you get your kicks. But why do you feel like there's so many simpy men? Is it because of, going back to the feminism issue? And then we have a guy like, and I think he's got some of your qualities, especially in the Pimp Game book, is Andrew Tate. He's been on the news a lot. And he's trying to, and people have different opinions about him, but he's trying to tell men, young men, that you need to go and work out in the gym, that you need to, I lost your picture, Mickey. I don't know what happened.
What happened? Okay, let me hit that button again. I told you before, I'm a technosaurus.
No, I think we're...
It should come back.
Yeah, we're black, but I think it's coming back. Anyways, let me, it went like it was coming back, but it's never came back. I'm not sure. Can you hear me or no?
I can hear you perfectly.
Oh, okay. All right. All right. So let me just reframe that. So, there's a lot of men out there, Mickey, that are simps right now, and they're, I don't know if it's because of the boss babe thing or they're just struggling with life, but they let the woman control. They are the woman of the relationship, and they're not the alpha. Why do you feel like there's so many men right now that are simps? We'll start out with that. Oh, did I lose you? Something happened.
No, I can hear you. It got stuck. I can hear you.
Oh,
Why do I feel like there's so many men? What?
Oh, sorry. It's tough. It's tough because I can't see it to know what's going on. But what if we go on and off? Maybe it'll come back on. Just because it's tough to know when you're starting and stopping.
Okay, you want to stop it and re-go on?
Yeah, yeah. If you could just jump back in, it looks a lot better and it's a lot probably easier to see you.
Yeah.
All right, I'll be back in a second. You're
Okay.
probably gonna have to sign back in too.
Yeah, I'm gonna sign back in.
Okay.